If you ask the second question, by what authority people get their information, where do they get their information, where do they get their understanding of God, where do they get their understanding of theology, I've often found that most often, unlike what you would expect, that people get their theology from the scriptures or the priests, they actually get their theology from myths and myth repetition. What happens is that there are stories about the gods, and these stories of the gods give the theology, the basis for our understanding of those gods and what they signify, what they stand for. And it's myth and it's repetition, telling and retelling that gives the format of the theology for Hinduism. Another form of authorities are mediating priests or Brahmins. Now, most often these mediating priests or Brahmins, they're not actually authority structures in the sense of, say, a pastor or a minister or a priest would be in different other religions. They don't give them the theology as much as the ritual. You go to the priest to get the ritual. He's a mediator between the idol and you. You go there and there is, in fact, the Hindu temples are very interesting. They're very much like the tabernacle in the Old Testament. You have an outer courtyard, then you have an inner courtyard, and then you have a holy place, and right in the center, over there is the Holy of Holies, or what is called the Sanctum Sanctorum. And in the Sanctum Sanctorum, or the womb, or the Garbha, is found the idol. So it's almost like the tabernacle. You go in from the outer court into the inner court, from the inner court in the holy place. Now you can't enter the holy place or the Holy of Holies. And instead of finding the altar, instead of finding the Ark of the Covenant, you find an idol. You'll find a lingam, or you'll find a monkey god, or you'll find a goddess. That is what inhabits the Holy of Holies. So the mediating priest then can go into the Holy of Holies. He goes into the Holy of Holies, he presents an offering to the god or goddess, and incense to the god or goddess, and food that is offered to the god or goddess, and then comes out to the worshipper, and then through his ritual and his mantras, he is able to give a connecting point between the worshipper. So he's actually a mediator between the idol and the worshipper. Now, the third form of authority structure that Hindus have are holy books. Now, Hindu holy books are not quite like you would find, say, in the Bible. They are actually numerous Bibles, many, many volumes. Now, some of the intellectual Hindus say that the Rig Veda is the key volume that is their authority. In fact, that's not quite true, because in practice, very few people even know what the Rig Veda says. It's only a collection of poems to gods and goddesses who actually are not worshipped today except for fire and the sun god. These books are used more for their mythological values. So the Mahabharata, the Ramayana is more known to the Hindus than the Rig Veda and the other different types of Vedas. And there are so many books. In fact, you don't go to Hindu books because of their authority. You actually go if you want to find something that will bolster what you want, because you get so many views, so many contradictory views, and so it is quite easy to find whatever view you want. You can find Christian elements in it, you can find atheistic elements in it, you can find personal God elements in it, you can find violence in it, you can find compassion in it, anything you want, because after all it's a big collection. But one very important source of authority in Hinduism that's not often realized are the gurus. These are God-men. These people who have gone and got self-realization. These are men who discipline themselves and actually say that they know God, and they come back with authority. And many Hindus go to these gurus, these God-men. There are numerous of them. There's scores of them, hundreds of them, thousands of them in India, all over the world. The Maharishi Mahesh Yogi is one that is known very well because of how he charmed the Beatles into coming to Rishikesh, which is not far from here, and made Rishikesh famous now. There are lots of foreign folk who come over here to go to these various ashrams, and by transcendental meditation he's got a large worldwide following. Other godmen are very well known here. There's a man called Satya Sai Baba who's got millions of followers over here. Many gurus, Chinmayananda, Sivananda, all past gods and gurus, and after a while they even worshipped. And the live gurus, people come to them for advice. You go to the guru, you get your advice on theology, you get your advice on what business you should do, you get your advice on a whole host of matters, whether you should marry your children or whether your children will get into college or go to university and so on and so forth. So the fourth form of authority is gurus. So myth repetition, mediating priests, holy books and gurus. Now, if you ask the question in Hinduism, what is wrong with the world? What is the nature of evil and control in the world? You get several answers to this as well. And I've divided into 4 basic answers. Now, of course, in many of these, this grid that I'm trying to give you is to give you a handle on Hinduism. So it's not exhaustive, but I hope it gives you a simple but clear handle. And you must be careful that you don't make it a simplistic handle. So you ask the question, what is wrong with the world? What's the nature of evil and control? You'll find that most Hindus will respond to the area of sin and control because they will try and appease divine anger and malice. Often these gods, these male and female gods, get angry with their worshippers, and these male and female gods, or whatever gods, stones, rivers, trees, mountains, all of them have to be appeased. And so you say, what controls a Hindu's life? It's usually the anger of the gods, displeasure of the gods, or the favor of the gods. And then another area that controls their lives is spirits and ghosts. In the villages, we find that many villages are often very responsive to spirits and ghosts. Often they believe that somebody died, say maybe a young girl died in an accident. She comes back as a ghost to haunt people, and then they'll have a goddess shrine, a goddess image that is worshipped about that girl who died. So you'll find spirits and ghosts form quite a prominent feature, and people getting possessed, and mediums. They become mediums and be possessed by various spirits and ghosts that are called that are either gods or goddesses. So people will spend lots of time being possessed by these goddesses. Then the third form of thing that controls the Hindus' lives is astrology. Hindus believe a lot in the stars. In fact, it's very difficult for Hindus generally not to survive without some aspect of astrological control. You'll find in any newspaper, daily newspaper in India, you'll find sort of marriage advertisements, a young girl, 25, of this community, of that gotra, is looking for a male of the same age of that community. Please send your horoscope to see if it'll match. And so they're very much controlled by horoscopes and stars. They won't go out at certain times of the day because it's inauspicious. Prime ministers won't get sworn in unless it's an auspicious moment. Cabinet ministers won't be chosen unless it's sometimes astrologers are consulted. Election times are chosen according to astrologers' opinions. And astrology controls a lot of human life. Many of the stars also control their life. Saturn, for example, Saturn is a very evil-intended star, and Hindus are very afraid of Saturn. They want to appease Saturn. They won't go out on Saturday because unless they have a lot of business to do, they won't do certain things on Saturday because Saturn will be displeased. So the astrology controls them, magic controls their lives, the stars control their lives.